I'll be discussing video games. So my stimulus I got from two articles. The first article was one by Kurt Squire, who has a PhD from Indiana University and is also a research manager to Games to Tech project at MIT. And from that article, I actually got the quote, "Video games elicit powerful emotion reactions in their players, such as fear, power, aggression, wonder, and joy." And then leading off of that, I also got from the Video Games and Learning, the Future Learning, they talk about how video games, like, kids actually see it as like reality and apply it to their everyday life. And from this, I questioned like how they put their emotions towards like that they get from the video games to like their real life. So this led me to the question: to what extent does a lack of diversity in video games affect the views of children? And then I started off with social. So one thing that like a lot of people have noticed about video games is that there tends to be a lack of race. And then we have Jennifer Malkowski, who has a PhD in film and media studies and a founder of Video Games Research Lab at Smith College. And then also Terenda M. Russworm, who has a PhD in digital medias, or digital humanities, sorry. They worked together and actually wrote a book together. And one of the things that they notice is that in video games, a lot, they tend to idolize Caucasian males, and like they show them as like strong and like stuff like that, where like if there's other people of color of race in the videos, they tend to like die off faster and other stuff like that. And then like a counter to this was like a lot of people could be like, oh, video games are fiction, so like, and kids and everything know that, so they won't apply it to real life. But like from the article that I used in my stimulus, you can see that games, like, yes, it's a reality, and that's a valid point, but like they look at this reality and they create a reality in their real world and use these ideas and actions that they witness and put it to their everyday life. And then another social thing I noticed was the lack of gender that tends to happen in video games. Also from Malowski and Russrum, they identified that women are usually used for visuals and like helping the main characters get to the point that they need to, instead of just being the main character themselves. And this can cause like people to see women as like less equal, as like and can't achieve as much, and then like young girls who actually like watch these games, they might feel that way as well. And then a counter to this would be like a lot of people like assume that girls don't really play video games, and that like if this audience isn't there, then why should it care about that subject? But Nick Lee, he has a PhD in communications. He actually found out that 41% of women are casual gamers, and then there's 18.5% that are serious gamers. So they actually do have the audience that like need this representation in their games to like apply to their everyday lives. And then I moved on to economics. Typically, video games that get bad reviews, they don't like sell as well, and that goes for like racial views and like gender views as well. J.R. Gregory Sidek, who has a degree in law and economics and founder of Criterion Economics, in his article, he just found out like that there's a 16.4 billion output for video games, and that's what they receive. That's like a basis of what they get. And then we have Patrick Argyle, who's a PhD in computer science. In his article, he looks into the micro and macro transactions between video games, and he finds out that the ones that actually are like looked at as not like gender equal or like have racial views, they actually like sell less than the other games that do look more equal. And then a counter would be like these games might not be actually selling because there's like glitches or software problems. But actually Aaron Birch, who has a PhD in affiliate marketing, he found out that a majority of games since about 2010 actually have a lot of bugs and like software problems, and that typically, unless it's like really bad or you can't play it, typically doesn't affect the sales of the game. And then I moved on to ethics. Typically, like, I question like if it's ethically moral to like for the video game companies to put these out to their provide it to kids. And then I found from Andrew Lum, who is a founder and director of Buxo Gaming and advocate for game sales, and Josh here, a PhD in philosophy, in their article, they actually found out that like the games that have a higher exposure to like these important like issues and they don't use it correctly, that it causes like parents and everything to not buy the games for their children as much, and it lowers um, and it lowers that, and then these games also get bad reviews and everything like that. And then what's it called? Rebuttal to this would be people like maybe kids should be exposed to this because it's about the real world and they need that information. But then Emmanuel Activasi, a PhD in film and media studies, that found out that he even uses the quote like that video games are a toxic environment for like racism because they don't use these storylines correctly into the approach that like teach kids lessons about racism and everything, that they just use it as a storyline to throw in there. So like that will help kids change their views and it'll just give them more negative views to feel that like that's not like the correct way to think. And then my conclusion, I answer like my social, economic, and ethical. So basically like little to no gender equality and diversity can cause children to look at people less than others and not good enough. And then economical, games with bad views sell less as parents know that they don't want their children exposed to those types of thoughts. And then ethical, immoral approaches to the issues and providing them with children increase the possibility of them getting those negative thoughts. And what a solution could be is companies should start being more aware of what they're doing to their games before releasing them. And then actions that can uphold this is maybe parents and more people could avoid buying games that are seen more as like racially insensitive and stuff like that.